Hello and welcome to So You Think You Know Wine. It's our 6th season and this is our first semi-final. I'm James Chatto and I'm joined for this round by John Szabo, David Lawrason and Bruce Wallner. They're going to identify the wine in this decanter and we're going to score their conclusions. We're at the Wine Academy in Toronto and we're drinking from these stunning Zolto glasses. And John, would you mind pouring the first glass for us? Oh, indeed, all of them.
Bruce, are you sure you need, or do you just want to
just go for the decanter?
Yes.
Yeah. I'm already locked in.
I saw your hand hovering above the decanter.
This wine has seen some air somewhere along the line.
Yeah?
Yes, please.
Full-bodied, white.
Maybe not high alcohol, but slightly elevated alcohol.
Would you call that moderate plus, Bruce?
Well, if to push, yeah, I'd say it was moderate plus. That's correct.
You want to throw a number down on that? Moderate plus?
I don't know. Are we entering that into the competition?
Well,
yeah,
got to split hairs here, right?
I think that's about 14%.
Well, it's certainly ripe, sort of tropical fruit, and actually I don't find the oak as dominating on the palate as it was on the first nose anyway. Yeah, no, just ripe sort of mango, ripe peach, that kind of thing. Yeah, tropical, warmer climate, but there's pretty good acidity as well. I like the overall balance, elegance of the wine.
I find this wine super straightforward. I think it's 2014 Chardonnay from the United States of America, California, Sonoma. I think the price, $23.95.
Well, you reached that conclusion very immediately. That's good. You made up your mind. Any similar certainty?
I have never heard such an outlandish guess in all of my days of So You Think You Know Wine. I'm not going to follow Mr. Wallner's path. I think it is New World. I think it's a fairly warm climate. A range of flavors here. I don't know. This sounds like a trap, but I'm going to jump in anyhow. Pinot Gris. It's off dry. There's a couple grams of residual sugar there. I'm not getting the wood, or at least no obvious new wood that I would expect from your Sonoma Chard. I have to go somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Right. So we're Pinot Gris 2014, I think 1995, and Australia, Victoria. I'm going to leave it at that.
Victorian Pinot Gris.
You're not supposed to look at me like that's the most outlandish guess.
Quite good Pinot Gris from Mornington Peninsula. It could be.
Okay.
It could, David.
Well, I'm fairly certain on the gray pear, and I'm going to side with Bruce on Chardonnay.
Okay.
A little less certain on the where it's from, the region. I've been flirting with British Columbia, actually, where it's a nice bright fruit and acidity and warmer climate. I've been flirting with Australia as well, again in a cooler region of Australia, so I don't think John is necessarily far off on his Victoria guess. But I do have to make up my mind, and actually Sonoma would be my guess if I was going to go to California as well, because it's got some, again, it's the acidity. It's ripe fruit and good acidity, which is a little bit strange or unusual. So, just because I'm going to go to British Columbia, so that would make it Okanagan Valley, Central Okanagan actually. They don't have sub-appellations yet there, but I'm thinking Okanagan Falls region. What's next? Vintage.
Vintage would be good.
2014. And I think it's a very high quality Chardonnay. I'll go $35.
Let's find out what we've been drinking. So is it Chardonnay or is it Pinot Gris? Let's find out.
Well,
Not oozing with confidence, no. I have to say.
Ooh.
Oh,
my God.
come on. Chenin Blanc, South Africa, 2015.
It's the Spier Vintage Chenin Blanc from South Africa,
Wow.
Swartland, 2015, $16.95.
oh, that's fascinating. That's so interesting.
In our defense, that's a tough wine to get. I mean, there's a little bit of wood, but it wasn't an excessively oaky wine. There's what seems like a pinch of residual sugar, which makes sense in Chenin Blanc. It's ripe.
Yeah, but it's very nice. And, lots of tropical aromas and sort of florality and of course, now that we know what it is, it tastes exactly like Chenin Blanc.
But I've made this mistake before. You know, it does seem a bit like Chardonnay, right? Like it has that apple, has a bit of citrus, and has a touch of oak influence. And it for me, South African Chenin Blanc is the one that I confuse with, especially California Chardonnay, the most often.
Yeah.
It's like Chardonnay with something a little bit not quite there, and that's what this is. Now that we see it's Chenin, when you go back to it, you're like, oh, it's really quite appley.
Yeah.
And it has a little bit of malt bitterness too, right? Like,
I don't know, for me, it's a dead ringer for Victoria Pinot Gris. You know, one of those slightly understated.
I don't think
versions
even
of
you
Pinot-
believe that.
But it's a really tough grape to blind taste because, you know, South Africa is making it in a whole myriad of styles, from very inexpensive, straightforward, simple, fruity wines to wines that have more complexity body. Some are even barrel fermented. So there's that whole gamut. They rarely say on the label whether or not it's oak aged.
And this one sort of
So
sits in the middle
it
of
sits
that
right
range.
in the middle. That's right. Yeah.
Wow, for $16.95, there's
That's
a lot
good
of wine.
wine. Yeah, I like
Pretty
the wine
spot on.
actually. Yeah. Very good.
Well, all three of you were within a year of the vintage. That was
Therefore-
the only points you earned was 1 point each. So we have a big tie here. I have no idea what happens next in terms of the rules and how we move on to the final,
Yeah.
but we're going to figure that one out. So
Okay.
meanwhile, thank you very much, guys.
Cheers.
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 Cheers.